Hey everybody, and thanks for checking out this video on how to manage equipment and machine safety without being the bad guy or losing sleep at night. Make sure you stick around to the end because I have a free gift for you, something that I put together that I think you'll find very helpful. So did you know that making a product or equipment safe doesn't need to make it more difficult to use or decrease its efficiency? Now I know that sounds crazy because we're so used to hearing people complain about how the safety measures make it slower, make it less productive, make it more difficult, sometimes to the point where people don't even want to do it anymore. Now I'm going to share with you 3 approaches to equipment safety and something that will revolutionize the way that you approach safety with your products and equipment. So by way of introduction, my name is David Smith. I'm the Vice President of Alpine Engineering and Design. We have performed and documented risk assessments on multiple types of equipment for many different companies. Some examples of companies we've worked with include the Flowserve Corporation, ETI, Major Drilling, Mack Trailers, the Heil Company. They make refuse equipment and other things. Lang Crane, Nature's Sunshine, Beal, Soaring Eagle zip lines and rides. So we've been doing this for over 20 years now, and it's something that we've really gained an expertise in. So what is the best way to increase the comfort of your mattress, to make your pillow softer? What's the best way to keep your customers and employees safe? What's the best way to stop worrying about your machines and equipment and your products so that you can get a good sleep at night? Well, the answer is a risk assessment. It's a detailed step-by-step process that has been developed over decades to help identify hazards, determine risk, and help reduce that risk to an acceptable level. Now, by applying this framework to your products, equipment, machines, and processes, you can rest easy being comfortable with the amount of risks that you have. So now let's talk about 3 stages of equipment safety that I've seen in different companies and different industries. Sometimes you'll have all 3 that exist in the same company, and sometimes the company is more aligned with just 1 or maybe 2 of them. So the first is what I call omitted safety. Now this is where a company purposefully neglects or decides not to follow safety standards. They know what the minimum requirements are, but decide for whatever reason that they are not important. Now, for example, there was a company that came to us to design a trailer for them. Now, they just wanted drawings so that they could start manufacturing. They told us, we don't want you to do any strength analysis. We don't want you to look at any safety. All we want are the drawings so we can start cranking these out. Now, I have to say something like, I'm sorry, sir, but that's not something we can really help you with. Now, there's not much that can be done in these situations for these type of people that are purposefully overlooking or neglecting safety. But luckily, these are becoming fewer and further between. Now, the second stage is what I call simple safety. In this stage, the companies follow the standards. Nothing more and nothing less. The difficulty is that, while standards can be very helpful, they can't possibly cover every piece of equipment or every possible design. They're the bare minimum requirements, and even if a piece of equipment is designed to the standards, it doesn't mean that it's going to be safe to use. Now, the third stage is what I call assimilated safety. Now, assimilate means to take in, to be absorbed or integrated. And at this stage, the equipment and its users and the risks they are subjected to are thoroughly understood and have been reduced to acceptable levels through the most effective ways possible. Now, this is what we aim for. Now, I know what you're thinking. Risk assessments are obviously how we reach the assimilated safety level. But how do you do a risk assessment? I mean, I have a degree in engineering, but they didn't teach us how to do them in college. Now, I'm going to show you a great way that you can incorporate proper risk assessments and get amazing results. But why does this feel like a new idea? Why doesn't everyone do this already? Some people think, well, our engineers designed it, so it must be safe. Now, I'll tell you, I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, I have a master's degree in mechanical engineering, and I have an MBA with an emphasis in product development. I used to think the same thing, that if engineers design it, it's going to be safe. But the truth of it is that safety isn't always a top priority, even if it's stated as one. And when it is, engineers don't even know that they should be doing a risk assessment. I've taken every product development class at 2 different universities, and none of them even mentioned risk assessment, or the risk assessment process that we're going to be talking about in any class that I've ever taken. Now, engineers are great at making things work and making them strong enough not to break. But there's an important differentiation here, because even if it works and even if it doesn't break, there still may be hazards that are waiting to cause accident and injury, and probably at the most inopportune time. So another thing people think that, well, we've been making this for a long time and we haven't ever heard of anyone getting hurt with this machine, so it must be safe. Now, while accident history is an important consideration, the main thing to understand here is that evidence shows, and standards are quick to point out, that the lack of accident history should not be taken as an automatic presumption of low risk. It's only one of the considerations, and there are many other considerations. In fact, Herbert Heinrich showed that for every accident with a major injury, there are 29 accidents with minor injuries and 300 accidents with no injuries, or what are sometimes called near misses. So accordingly, there could be hundreds of near misses without the major injury occurring, but that doesn't mean that it's not coming up or that it's not going to happen at some point. So the third thing that people think is making equipment or machines safer makes them harder to use. Now, this is something that safety managers struggle with daily, getting people to follow the guidelines and regulations, because working safe is so often less productive and harder for their workers. Now, it's tricky because so often it's actually true. And it happens when safety is put on like a Band-Aid. It's considered after the fact, after the product has been designed and made, and after someone has been hurt. But here's the truth. When safety is done correctly, when risk assessment is done correctly, you can make the safe operation of equipment easier and more efficient than unsafe operation. And that's the goal. That's what we really aim for. So now I know what you're thinking. Making it safer and more efficient sounds really difficult. Is it really even possible? But here's the key, right? It's really not that difficult. Once you know the process and have done it a couple of times, the answers just seem to fall out onto the paper as you walk through the steps. So this is what I did. I created a risk assessment workbook that you can use to guide you through the process, to help you think through the different steps and document all of your risk assessment projects. And it outlines everything you need, from choosing the team to identifying the hazards and setting the scope of the project to applying risk reduction measures. And what this is going to do is help you get comfortable performing risk assessments on your own and make sure that you have all the right documentation in place for each piece of equipment, machinery, or product that you have. Now, you can download this risk assessment workbook for free today right here on this website at the link below the video. Now, one thing when you start doing risk assessments that you're going to learn is that the risk assessment people should include at least 2 people, sometimes more, but at least 2. Now, those 2 people are, number 1, someone familiar with the machine, the equipment, the product, or process, right? That might be an operator, it might be someone that designed it, it might be someone who is planning on using it. And the second is someone who is familiar with the risk assessment process and related hazards. And this is important because it's really difficult as an engineer, as someone who's designed a product, who's spent weeks or months or years pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into a product to then turn around and switch the function of their brain to say, okay, now how is this product, how is my baby going to hurt somebody? And so it's really important to get those two different people in there. And so if you have someone that's familiar with risk assessments, that's great. Maybe it's you. If so, this workbook should be a great help for you. If you don't, well then let's have a conversation. So we currently have 6 risk assessment professionals that are licensed professional mechanical engineers and certified safety professionals. We've done hundreds of these risk assessments, from conveyors to trailers to manufacturing equipment to custom lifting devices. What we do is apply this proven framework and use our knowledge and experience in safety and engineering to reduce the risk in your products and equipment and machines. Now, aside from increasing safety, hiring a third party can do several things. It can reduce your company liability. We will provide the required documentation for the risk assessment. It can reduce or eliminate recalls that you might have. It can create more happy customers. It can create patentable ideas. And perhaps most importantly, it gives you peace of mind and a good night's sleep. So, what are some other reasons to bring in an outside consultant? Maybe you are already very busy taking care of the day-to-day safety tasks or design tasks at your company, and you haven't, and the risk assessments haven't made it high enough up on your priority list to actually get done. Or maybe you want to bring someone in from the outside and rely on their expertise so you can reduce your liability. Number 3, maybe you haven't done this before and you want to make sure you get everything documented properly. Because like they say, if it isn't documented, it never happened. And that's not a position you want to be in should someone actually get hurt. So if you would like to have an outside safety professional help with your risk assessments on your equipment, machines, or products, click on the link below to schedule a call. At Alpine Engineering and Design, we'll be here ready to help when you need us. Don't forget to download your free risk assessment workbook. I know you're going to find it helpful. I put a lot of time and effort into that, and it's something that we use regularly. So enjoy, thanks for listening, and have a great day.